Steven, do you live your life 1/4 mile at a time?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not a Fast and Furious movie person.
Why not?
Because they suck.
They do not suck. I'm surprised that you're not into them as much as. I mean, you and I, when we did a Raiders podcast, all you would talk about is Shooter. So I'm surprised you're not into the Fast and Furious movies.
It was a really good reference that I was making. It was because I was into Shooter, although I partially was. But
You're really into Shooter. That's like your favorite movie.
you know what's funny is I saw Ludacris on All the Smoke the other day, and
Please call him by his actor name now.
what's his actor name?
Chris Bridges.
Oh, I didn't know that. So
I'm actually really good at remembering rappers' government names.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bizarre skill. Why?
Throw one at me.
I don't know. What's your favorite one?
Method Man.
What's his real name?
Clifford Smith.
Wow. What about Busta Rhymes?
I knew this. Wait, he might be Clifford Smith. Actually, I'm not as good as I thought I was once upon a time.
His is Trevor. Trevor George Smith.
Trevor.
You know, if I had to,
Wait. It was Trevor Smith?
Yeah.
Nah,
So
close.
You're close there, but
I think LL Cool J's name ends with a Smith too.
Wait, is it James Smith?
It might be because one of his albums is Mr. Smith.
And ladies love Cool James, so we just dissected it.
Ah, well done.
And you know, out of all the names to ever exist, I don't think I'd put Busta Rhymes as a Trevor. That's kind of a random name, isn't it?
Yeah, you figure his name was Buster.
There's something.
But sometimes it's not that simple.
What if you
Can it be that it all so simple? And speaking of which, Ernie asked me, "What's Ghostface Killer's name?" God, I knew it in the Wu-Tang show. Damn it! I'll look it up.
I'll give you some guesses. You don't have to look it up. I'll give you some guesses here if you want.
Travarius?
No.
Is it start with a T?
No.
What is it?
It's Dennis.
Dennis
Coles.
Dennis, of course it is.
I didn't know his name was Jesus. So wait, what else is the Wu-Tang Clan? So you got Trevor, you got Clifford.
Well, Raekwon's Bob. Sorry, not Raekwon. RZA is Bobby because he goes by Bobby Digital, but his real name is Bobby.
Okay. And then
Method Man's Clifford.
Jizza is Gary.
Yeah, Raekwon is. God, I haven't seen the show in a while. The Wu-Tang show is really good, actually. By the way,
Corey.
What's it?
Corey.
Yeah.
So you got old Clifford, Gary, and Corey, and then
doesn't sound as intimidating.
No, it does not.
When you go when you go in the 36 chambers of death and you hear it's Gary, Clifford, and Bobby, you're like, oh, I can handle that.
Yeah, it's like that's what you'd think to be like the name of, I don't know, the band members of Sum 41 or something, not Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, and Ernie 2 asked me, ODB, I think his name was Ashawn.
Where are you getting these names? His name was Russell.
Oh, I guess his first rapper name was Ashawn.
Yeah, Russell Tyrone Jones.
Oh. Anyway, welcome to Just Your Opinion, man. Steve Langford, Derek Papa, those are our real names.
For now.
So you're not a Fast and Furious guy. That always surprised me because I figured you like shoot 'em up, bang bang movies just as much as me. But I really got into. I was like you, Steven. Once upon a time, I thought that those movies were just garbage and stupid and just made for meatheads like Nick Sirianni. But I really enjoy them because they have a cartoonish, comedic charm to them.
Yeah, but at some point, don't you want to stop giving them money so they'd stop making these movies, or are you good just them churning all these movies out until you're dead?
Well, it is coming to an end. If you see the latest one, Fast X, there is going to be a finality to all this. Like, Vin Diesel can't be in his 60s and keep doing this shit. Although, I guess Harrison Ford's doing Indiana Jones. I guess that's getting terrible reviews because the de-aging looks terrible and everything.
Yeah, no shocker there. I'm not a fast guy. Like I'm also not fast in general, just speed wise.
But are you furious?
I'm not. I am furious at America for love
of those movies.
Yes, I am furious at the world. It's not just America; it's the world. It's funny, man. hang on, hang on. I want to get to my original point to how we get to the rapper names because we talked about Ludacris, right?
Yes.
That's how we got into it. But when I saw him on All the Smoke, and like he basically said something to the effect of, or Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes asked him rather, like, people always wonder why you keep making these movies, and then he acted like it was some sort of mystery that he basically said, "Oh, money." It's like a total money grab.
100%.
Shit, Ludacris. No way. Of course it's a money grab. No one's. And then like I think Matt Barnes commented on the post saying chess not checkers. I'm like, what?
No, that's not like a clever thing. It's like, oh, we're doing this for money.
Well,
You
like, I
think
mean,
you think
he
Adam
said,
Sandler's churning out great films year after year?
right. He said something like, I don't know, he said something badass, something Ludacris would say, but all he basically said was, yeah, they're money grabs.
Well, Ludacris is not a badass in these movies. The funniest thing about these movies, and we'll get to sports, don't worry. But the funniest thing about these movies is everyone's initial like character hierarchy has changed. Like Ludacris was originally in Too Fast, Too Furious, which is by far the worst one. Um, he was just like the guy that ran the street races in Florida or Atlanta, and then it becomes like some nerdy tech guy where he has all the gizmos and gadgets. So let me tell you why I'm into these movies now. 1 through 4 are just straight up street racing movies. Like the first one is basically a Point Break ripoff, and it is about L.A. street racing, where Vin Diesel and all of his friends are in a gang, and they steal like DVD players and shit they just need in their lives because they don't have a lot of money. And of course, Paul Walker's character is the cop trying to bust him. It's the same plot as Point Break. If you ever seen Point Break, it's the same exact movie. And then it just became a spin-off thing. Vin Diesel went to go do Triple X, and they started doing Tokyo Drift. That's the last one you saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, if you remember the first, people say the first one's the best one. It is in the sense of reality. Like there's also the great scene where Ja Rule's like, Monica.
Yeah.
But 1 through 4 are just straight up just street racing movies. And then when the fifth one came into play, that's when the series just shifted into something ridiculous. Like they become secret agents. They all start working for like secret agent agencies, and that's redundant, but they just they have like all the machinery and all the guns. They're fighting like terrorists. They just need something bigger to make people interested than just a straight up shoot 'em up, bang bang street racing movie. And it's dumb, believe me. I know it's dumb, but there's comedic charm to it. Like The Rock, one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie is The Rock being in a cast and looking out his window, being like, "Looks like I have to go kick some ass." And then he busts through the cast by flexing his bicep. I know it's stupid. If you take it seriously, then the joke's on you. There is comedy to these movies that is just genius.
Or I could just avoid them entirely and not have to.
Fine, if you don't want to have fun.
I've been saying since Ballers that The Rock is way too overplayed. He's in too many things. You can't believe.
I agree with that.
You can't believe it's anybody. It's just The Rock. I mean, you got The Rock playing a sports agent. You got The Rock playing some sort of Air Force guy in San Andreas. You got The Rock playing a crippled veteran who saves his daughter from a burning building. You got Rock as Jumanji guy. He doesn't play any different characters. He just plays The Rock. So that added to my frustration because that was at my peak. Rock just like overdone everything.
Yeah, but he's great in the Fast movies because he walks around in an Under Armour shirt that most police officers would wear, and just going around being like he'll just say like ridiculous catchphrases like "oh, some bitch," like. It's also hilarious to see how these movies have progressively become progressive. Like initially, like The Rock in these movies would like tell like women, be like, "All right, little lady, just stay in your place." Now it's like him coaching like a soccer team full of like girls he's coaching his daughter and everything. Which of course, comes with the times.
He's still in the movie right now, or he's still in Fast 10?
I can't say.
Oh, okay. So
I don't want to give anything away. So I'll just get that out of this way right now. Fast X, went to go see it with my friends in LA this weekend. And everything that you like, if you're a fast guy like me, Everything that you're looking for in a fast movie is there. It's over the top. It's ridiculous. There's a shit ton of cameos. It's fun. It's stupid. It's just a popcorn movie. Um, I will say, anyone that's seen it, Jason Momoa's character. So the Fast and Furious movies have always been like, it's all well. Basically, the movies are all about family. It's family. Family is very
Yeah.
important. There's always a cookout. Um, and they're it's all about somewhat machismo and macho ness to it because they're all just swole dudes just driving cars and beating the crap out of each other. But Jason Momoa's character is how do I put this? Flamboyant.
Okay.
They're not that it was like a questionable move or anything. It was just like this is really over the top, but it was well done at the same time.
Jason Momoa is another one that I don't get.
I don't really know his work. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Aquaman.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was good, but
he definitely can make fun of himself because he's definitely having fun with this role. Like he was kind of being like a Joker type of character, but it was way over the top.
He's badass. I'll say that, but he's just another.
He's not a badass in this movie. I'll tell you.
Really?
He's like giving himself like the whole point of his character is that he's trying to be anti macho. So he like gets pedicures and talks about people's clothes, and it's just interesting. It was an interesting choice for the character, I'd say.
Okay. Well, it'll take some convincing for me to watch these movies. I probably never will, but it'll take me some bit. As long as I do it for free and it's through streaming, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what happened. Like me and my roommate during the pandemic got extremely bored, and we got into the Fast and Furious movies with a little bit of help. It wasn't like we were watching these movies sober. I'll tell you that.
Right. Yeah. yeah. I'd imagine. Oh boy.
So I would give the new one 3.5 Steiny Yaz.
Okay. Fair enough. Good Lord.
All right. Should we move on then?
Can we just go back? Can we go back to just talking about like rappers' real names now or something?
If you want to give me one, I'll try for it.
Flava Flav.
Ooh, don't know that one.
What's his real name? This is going to be something good. If you come up with Flava Flav. William. Yeah, that's fine. Old Bill. Billy Flav.
But last name?
William Jonathan Drayton Jr.
Ooh, it's a big old name.
It is. A little bit. A lot of syllables there, but yeah, just old Bill. Billy Drayton.
All right.
Yeah, Bill.
Ernie's, if you want to periodically throw some rapper names in the chats, I'll try my best to come off the top of the dome with their government names.
Feel free.
Steven, I'll leave it up to you, sir. Where do you want to go? First topic off the gate, because we kind of have a free for all of what we want to talk about. We got Jimmy Garoppolo. We got the incredible Game 6 that happened on Saturday night between the Celtics and Heat. I got DeAndre Hopkins right. Bob Myers, something's going to go down this week, I'm hearing. Where do you want to go first?
Can we just put the Jimmy G thing to bed and just talk about how stupid it is that this whole thing's coming out and that it shouldn't even be a question about what's going on with the future? Because I know what happened with Florio and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Bringing out the contract and making it public, and the Jimmy Addendum G or the Addendum Jimmy G. I'm trying to figure out which one. It's not just Addendum G, but you got Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, Addendum G.
What are the odds of that? Addendum G and it's Jimmy G.
So, okay. So there's a clause in his contract. This is what's coming out about him. So he had the surgery. I think we talked about it in the last pod. Had the surgery. He was, going to be kept out to the beginning of this season. Or at least through training camp.
God, I hope not.
So a clause in his contracts gets released, basically saying like they have a waiver and they have the right to, basically release him without having to pay him a dime.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah. So Florio came out yesterday, and he's. This is the part where I'm like, Florio, you're too much. Well, first of all, he's upset that Ian Rappaport is taking credit for this report. Even though Florio, that is so hypocritical because Florio never gives credit to anybody when it comes to a pro football talk story. But regardless, yes, He found out that in the Raiders contract with Jimmy Garoppolo, there is an addendum where if Jimmy is not healthy by the start of the season, they can release him for no money that's attached to the Raiders whatsoever. So apparently, when Jimmy came in to initially sign the contract, they failed him on the physical. This was going to be a Carlos Correa situation if they wanted to go down this road.
Right.
In the end, the Raiders were comfortable with him healing in time for the season, and Jimmy Garoppolo and Don Yee were comfortable as well. So initially, there was going to be a signing bonus of $11.5 million. That was taken off the table. That is going to go into his salary next year if he remains on the team. But basically, if Jimmy Garoppolo was not healthy by week 1, they can cut him, and they have no problems with any money attached to him. Now, we're already surmising that that's going to be the case. And I think, like, Florio's also, like, a big part of his reports also is, I want to get to the facts because all the NFL people are lying to us. No one's lying in this situation. This is what it is. I guess they were lying in the sense that, we thought he was going to be healthy and there was going to be a second foot surgery. But there is no indication that Jimmy Garoppolo won't be healthy by the start of the season. It's just a matter of this is going to be a setback in the preparation for the season. And I'm sure Devontae Adams is not happy about this whatsoever.
Yeah. It's a bizarre situation all around because McDaniels said after that presser, like, there's everything that happened, we know about it. Everything that happened before, everything that's happened since, we knew about it. There's no surprises on our end. Sounds like Florio took it a little personally that there were some surprises in terms of what they made public. But if they say all of that and they put that addendum in there, well, that'd just be a huge embarrassment to the organization. I don't think anything's going to be made of this. I do think Jimmy's going to be starting week 1 ultimately. And I don't think this whole thing with Tom Brady buying the team, he's just going to come back and start playing. I don't buy that at all. But I do think that the way that it started off, it's just whenever there's championship teams, and I don't know, this might be looking into it a little too much, but whenever you have a Super Bowl team, you don't hear about any sort of drama during the offseason, especially around this time. Like the 49ers, what they got going on, I think it's all manufactured by us, to be honest. I don't think I think they might even have their mind made up already, like on what they're going to do with the starting quarterback, and we're just all kind of talking about it because we love our football and that's what we want to talk about. But like I look at the Chiefs. The only thing I've heard to come out of OTAs is a couple of clips from the New Heights show, Andy Reid hating the new kickoff rule, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce with a picture posted looking like they're holding hands. And then Patrick Mahomes is like, it looks like I'm holding hands, man. That's the only thing I've seen from the Kansas City Chiefs so far this offseason. Nothing wrong there. Cincinnati Bengals, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. The only thing that's come out about Josh Allen is that he's probably now dating Haley Steinfeld, or Steinfield, or whatever her name is. So shout out to Josh Allen.
Who is that?
She got really popular from Pitch Perfect 2. A couple other things. Jesse would know more than me. I don't know where Haley Steinfeld came from.
And now the rumor is,
where'd Haley Steinfeld come from? Where'd she come from? Mostly Pitch Perfect.
Okay, all right.
And she's also a singer. So there you go. And Bumblebee. She was in Bumblebee too. In a Marvel show. She was the Marvel person.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess the rumor is that Josh Allen was cheating on his girlfriend, and that's why Stephon Diggs was so upset with him during that playoff game. Yeah, I find that hard to believe.
Yikes.
What's that?
I just said yikes.
Yeah. So your point is, Steven, is that there's so much drama with the Raiders right now that there's no chance they could be a Super Bowl team.
I'm just saying that any offseason that starts out this way, where the star wide receiver is taking shots at the team and they're had to do damage control, where Jimmy Garoppolo with the delayed introductory press conference and everything surrounding that, the fact that they didn't add an offensive line, they didn't add a quarterback through all of this sort of stuff, man. It's just, I know it, we're probably not going to look forward to the season and remember this at all, but it's just, whenever championship teams are going through off seasons, man, like they're already established, already built. They don't have to go through things like this.
Yeah.
They got to be making jokes like me and Travis are holding hands.
Yeah, I hear you. And let me just put this to rest already. Tom Brady's not going to pull a Jackie Moon or Michael Jordan where he'll own the team slash play for the Raiders. That's not happening. And one smart thing that Florio did right this weekend is that if you think that the other NFL teams are going to be happy with that, they're going to shoot that down immediately. You cannot have a player own a team or be a minority owner and then play for that team. I don't think that's unprecedented in the NFL. I don't think owners would be happy about that. As far as Jimmy Garoppolo, it's a bad situation. Um, I I'm not too worried, but also I don't like that if he's not ready by training camp, that's not good in my eye. But at the same time, I do think Jimmy Garoppolo will be ready week 1 for the Raiders. Just a matter of, is he going to be healthy the entire season? Is he actually going to be effective? Are him and Devontae Adams going to be on the same page in the style of offense that Devontae wants to play? I think it's going to be a thing of Josh McDaniels and Jimmy against Devontae and what he has hopes for as far as how he wants to play. But as far as this whole thing of, well, the Raiders are going to cut Jimmy Garoppolo, I can see people already being like, well, that means that Kyle Shanahan and the Niners are going to sign back Jimmy Garoppolo. Those days are over. He's not coming back to the Niners. He's not coming back to the Niners. So all you Niner fans, you don't need to fret. You'll never see him again. I do wonder why he didn't get this surgery done after the season or earlier in the season or uh, when he initially got hurt because he did initially, and then I guess he needed a second one. But Don Yee and Jimmy are very good about let's do surgery when it's good for us, and let's not do surgery when it's bad for the team. So I'm not too worried. Like I don't think we need to go down this road yet. If oh my god, he's not going to be the quarterback. Now, if they were really worried about this, they would have drafted a quarterback. And there's no. I mean, they did with Aiden O'Connell, but they would have drafted one earlier if they were that concerned about him potentially not playing. And I know I've seen all these rumors with, well, then they'll trade for Trey Lance. It's not that simple. And they weren't invest that much of their future into Trey Lance just because Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to be their quarterback. It would be a emergency break all glass situation if they had to cut Jimmy Garoppolo right before the season.
Agreed. If like that's what confused me about like, well, Jimmy may not play week 1, and then you read into the actual details, then it's like, well, he has a clause in his contract, but like they don't put that in their contract just to cut him, just to release him. They put that in there just in case, and they knew what they were doing. So if if he's not healthy by week 1, then all right, whatever, we'll have to react to that. But by my estimation right now, looks like Jimmy's going to play.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm just concerned that he's going to be ready to go by training camp because that is crucial. It would be a hindrance to him towards the season, but I do believe he'll be starting week 1. And if he doesn't, I think there's something where he gives back money. It's not a whole thing of, well, they can just cut him and then have to pay him a dime. I don't think he gets paid if he's not ready to go week 1. It's a matter of when he's on the field. So if anything, Don Yee hurt his client by showing up to, a physical and he wasn't healthy. He cost him money. He would have gotten way more of what Mike Garafolo reported when initially he signed the contract or intended to sign the contract. So, now it all depends on if Jimmy's healthy. And I think that with how laid back and, nonchalant that, I mean, usually coaches are like, they don't want to act panicky in a press conference. But to me, the fact that they didn't go out and get another backup quarterback, like they didn't sign a Carson Wentz or anybody that you would think, well, maybe they could steal the job from Jimmy. They didn't draft a quarterback in the second round. They didn't get a Hendon Hooker. They waited till the 4th round, 5th round to get Aiden O'Connell, and that doesn't 4th round, and that to me doesn't scream like he's ready to play. So I think all indications are they're expecting Jimmy to play, and this whole addendum G in his contract is just to save their ass in case this gets really bad.
Yeah. And they're not going to go out there and tank, obviously, but if Jimmy does end up missing this and they do waive him or whatever, like, I don't know, man. It's either like, it's a weird place. It's either you be the best, you compete, You maybe make a playoff spot. You go deep on a postseason run, or if you're the worst, then you can at least, potentially get a high draft pick and you put yourself in a situation like the Carolina Panthers, where they were able to trade up to the number 1 overall pick and then grab a quarterback. That honestly, man, that might even be the best case scenario if Caleb Williams lands into their
Yeah.
into their play. I don't know how it would happen. I don't want that to happen because that would mean Jimmy G would have to be done for the season, and you don't want any of that. But the worst case scenario, to me, is you end the season 7-10. I don't know, 8-9.
That's not even the worst case scenario to me, to be honest.
What's the worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario is Jimmy is not healthy. They cut him, and Brian Hoyer's playing. I don't listen. I know that a lot of fans would be like, "Well, that means we're getting Caleb Williams. We'll be that terrible." I don't think this team is that bad compared to. Let's just go through it: Cardinals, Commanders, even the Titans right now. I think a lot of teams are set up like there's no tanking in football. I do not believe that. But I do believe general managers and owners set up rosters with the intention for them to fail. And then it's on the coach of whether or not they go with the flow or they're going to have a good season or not. As you saw with Lovie Smith winning that last game of the season, he got fired because of that. But also, like, you can't go tell a group full of 52 men on a football team, let's lose this game.
You're not going to. Yeah, no. You're not going to. If you don't go out 100%, then you're going to. I'm just saying there's a consolation prize which could turn into a franchise quarterback, but it is not going to be like the case here where the case this year where the Bears are pretty set in their quarterback and everything else they needed was to build around him. Right. Like you're right. Going into next year, I mean, if it's the Cardinals, that'd probably be the best case, but like to at least trade up for a quarterback. But if the Cardinals are the number 1 overall pick, then you know what? You'd probably be happy to watch them lose some games because then you could be like, I don't know, the 49ers back in 2018 or after 2018 when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt and they had a terrible season. They landed the 2nd overall pick. That pick turned into Nick Bosa, and he altered the trajectory of that pass rush. I'm not going to say the entire defense because, you also had picks like Fred Warner and the rest of those guys. And obviously you got to make other corresponding moves in order to keep that team where it's at. But I'm just saying there's benefits to all of this, and you could jumpstart something new. But what they want is a fully healthy Jimmy going into this season. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
No, and I think he's going to be healthy. And I think this is all much ado about nothing where people are just, Florio is, putting the fear serum out there in Raider Nation, and I don't think that they're that concerned about his health when it comes to week 1 of the 2023 season, the 2023 season. No one says 2023 anymore.
No.
Yeah. So I think he'll be fine. He'll play. And for anybody that's gonna be up in arms about McDaniels or Dave Ziegler, I got news for you guys. They are not going away. With Tom Brady being around, this is a whole new phase of the organization where they are trying the New England Patriots style of just what their philosophy is. So if you think that them having a bad season is going to mean that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler will be fired, you are sorely mistaken. They are not going anywhere. They will be around for this team to, figure out what they want to do for the long haul, which is infuriating because you thought that they were just one wide receiver away and one Chandler Jones away from being a Super Bowl team, and they were not. So now they got to redo the whole damn thing.
It's going to take a lot to convince me that they're anything better than a 10-win team in the next 3 years. It's going to take a lot. I'm saying in the next 3 years. No. I'm dead serious with that.
Well, I would even say this season, like expectations I would have would be 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, like middle of the barrel as it comes to AFC teams, and the AFC is stacked. So, I don't think the Raider fans should hang their hopes on getting Caleb Williams next season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they will look at all avenues as far as a quarterback. Speaking of which, you brought up the Arizona Cardinals, Steven. It's going to be a very weird scenario for Kyler Murray this season, for him to not play the majority of the season, if at all, because he tore his ACL in December. And if the Cardinals are 1-10, why the hell would you play him? So I think in Kyler Murray's mind, while he's gone, he probably this is like you ask a lot of athletes and they'll probably tell you like if they're a good team, you want to root for them. But if you're injured and you're missing out on stuff, you're probably like, well, I don't want guys to, you know, achieve stuff while I'm gone. Like in the back of their mind, they're probably like, damn, they're doing well without me. Like that's what probably Carson Wentz felt when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Like even Ben Roethlisberger, I thought was way too honest when he talked to Kenny Pickett, I guess on his podcast, and he was like, when I retired and you were doing well, I was rooting against you because I don't want it to seem like anybody can just play in the Steelers offense. Do you see that?
Yeah, he wasn't telling Kenny Pickett. He was just being honest with the radio. I appreciated it.
Was Kenny Pickett not on that podcast?
No, he was just telling the story.
I thought he was. I guess he was telling the story as if he was talking to Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I listened to that, and I mean, he prefaced it by saying he shouldn't say this probably, but he did.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I heard that part. Yeah.
But I think. I mean, I don't think that's as bad as Ryan Tannehill essentially saying it's not my job to mentor these guys,
well,
even when Malik Willis was coming in. That's just as bad.
We didn't go back on that one, but I mean, we'll see if Malik Willis even makes the Titans this season.
Right.
But I was saying Kyler Murray may want to root for his team to be successful because if they get Caleb Williams with the first overall pick, it would be the most ironic thing ever if the Cardinals drafted Josh Rosen, then within a year traded him away to go get Kyler Murray first overall in the draft, and then they do the same thing to Kyler Murray because they get a better quarterback prospect.
But that'd be really on brand for a team like the Cardinals.
But they got,
right?
I mean, yes, it would be, but they got new ownership. I mean, not new ownership. They got a new general manager, a new head coach. And I wouldn't fault them for that because Caleb Williams, we'll all watch him at USC this year. He's the real deal. He's the closest thing to Mahomes in college, like already at that level.
Well, that also depends on what the new GM thinks of Kyler Murray. Because if Kyler's, that's going to be tough for him.
Yeah. Speaking of the Cardinals, give it to me, Steven. I already know you put out the video of me having my prediction of DeAndre Hopkins, but I just need to hear some validation for me getting that right.
No, you said at the time that he was going to be released. You anticipate that he's going to be released. You didn't say it was going to be that day or the day after.
No, so, I was shocked.
So you were half right. You were 50% right because you said, you anticipate him being released, but you also said you anticipate him being released after June 1st.
I did say that, yes.
I'll give you like a 60% congratulations.
I would say 75 because a lot of people, well, I mean, you scoff at that, sir, but when the news broke, God, Rich Eisen was like befuddled. Like that, I watched the video of him. He's like, what, they couldn't find anybody to trade for him. No one's like really dived deep into this, and everybody's like, oh, come on, salary caps are a thing. No one wants to take on $19 million. No one has that money to spend on DeAndre Hopkins. Only shitty teams do. So I was not surprised. I was surprised they did not wait until June 1st because it cost them what, $23 million or $22 million to do that. But then again, why do they care? They're not trying to win this season. So, like I said, they got a shit ton of draft picks for next season. I would have waited until June 1st, but they didn't. I would, $22 million's a lot different than $9 million. And I don't know why that's such a big stipulation in contracts. Although I guess this is the case, why they didn't wait. Apparently you can designate that for players that retire. So J.J. Watt retired, Rodney Hudson retired, and they weren't able to put a June 1st designation on DeAndre Hopkins. So it wouldn't have done them any good anyway.
Yeah. I'll also say this for you guessing this. You're also the only person that cared enough to actually have a prediction. Like no one really, wanted to do a deep dive into this. They're just like, oh, another wide receiver wanting to request a trade, kind of playing with the minds of everybody. Woohoo! Life goes on.
No, just
you are like, I'm going to figure out the designation, the deadline. I'm going to figure out his pay disparity. I'm going to come with a well-equipped take, which is actually, what our job is. So well done by you.
But, thank you.
Yeah. So, but I'll yeah, I'm still just at what did I
So you
say?
just want to
Six.
make fun of me for going really in depth with this and not being as dumb as everybody else.
I mean, you're the one that asked for the credit. Ask and you shall receive.
Well, I'm just surprised. Like I saw like Ian Rappaport go on McAfee. He's like, I'm surprised they cut him too. Why? Why? What you guys
Mm,
insane? No one's investigated this as much.
mm.
I will say that if DeAndre Hopkins is looking to get a big payday, that is not what this was all about. Like the whole point was you were going to get paid $19 million this season if you were to get traded, and no one wanted to do that. So if you think you're going to get like a 1 year deal for $23 million or like a Odell Beckham style contract, that's not happening. And apparently the Cardinals also released him because one, I'm sure they were not happy with that I am athlete interview, and two, apparently he sat out multiple games towards the end of last season because he just didn't want to deal with how terrible the team was, which is another red flag of anybody that wants to sign him. But also, Odell and DeAndre are very different players. It's not just apples to apples with, well, he got a $18 million contract, so that means I should get one. No. Odell, even though he missed all of last season and tore his ACL, he is more of a explosive player than DeAndre Hopkins is. I think that Odell has more speed and gets more touchdowns, to be completely honest, if you look at his whole career and everything. DeAndre Hopkins is a high volume, going to get a lot of catches guy, 125 catches or that type of style of play, but he's not going to be the guy that's going to burn you down the field for a 75-yard touchdown. So, and he's also 30, 31. So I don't think he deserves to get a contract that big. He does all these interviews where he's like, I want to play with Josh Allen. I want to play with Patrick Mahomes. If that's the case, then you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you got to sign for a very, very low deal to prove that you really want to play and go win the season.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have to pay him that amount of money this year. I mean, you could easily get a front-loaded contract that's a multi-year deal and just have him get you on the back end.
I wouldn't do that. If I was the Buffalo Bills, I would go around and I would start, adjusting salaries. Like, you would go to Josh Allen and be like, "Do you really want DeAndre Hopkins here? Okay, we're going to take a little money off your paycheck this year." You go to Von Miller, his best buddy, and be like, "You've been doing all this campaigning for him. We're going to take some money from your salary too." And then I would go to DeAndre and be like, "All right, I got a deal for you for 1 year, 8 to 10 million. You got to take it. You really want it? Like you've been doing all these interviews. You say you want to play with Josh Allen. 1 year, 10 million. You got to do it?"
That's where he says no. That's where he says no and goes elsewhere.
Well, see that's the part that I'm like, okay, well, you fought for your release and everything, but then do you really like? You say all these things like, oh, I want to play for this type of organization and that, and then if you go sign a deal with like the Carolina Panthers for big money, then that just shows what your real intentions are.
Right. No, that's true. Look, teams are going to figure it out, Derek. Like all this stuff, it sounds like it makes sense, but the salary cap doesn't make sense. All right. These teams somehow figure out a way to pay him. All right. That's my Steiny. All right. When he's really on a roll, teams will figure out a way to pay him. If the Bills want him, they'll figure it out. And I think they'll cough up a little more than 6 to 8 million than whatever you're proposing there.
No, I said 8 to 10, but I mean, if you look at, I don't know, it's a big difference. If you look at the salary caps right now, hold on, let me just go to them real quick. Cap tracker for the old SPO track. So right now, how ironic. The two teams with the lowest payrolls, or not the lowest payrolls, but the lowest salary cap in the league right now are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. And those are the top two teams that are linked to DeAndre Hopkins. So they got to adjust some salaries. It'll probably take some time. I don't think anyone's like a lot of teams want him, I'm sure, but it's going to take some time to figure out how to get the cash for it because this is a weird time to sign a free agent in the middle of we're coming up on June. So yeah, I think DeAndre Hopkins, he talks a lot. He wants to go to a new team. Let's see if he actually really wants to win.
I think he would. Where do you think he lands ultimately?
I do think Buffalo. I think it's a matter of them figuring out the money, though. I think it's going to take some time. I think that they're going to have to, Brandon Bean, their general manager, always talks about like I'm not really a go all in for 1 year type of guy. But if he's campaigning to play for the Bills and Von Miller wants him and Josh Allen wants him, then I think it's a no-brainer. I think that in today's NFL, you do need 3 elite receivers, and right now they only have 2. So I think adding him would make them a explosive offense.
Agreed. I think they'd. Yeah, ultimately, I think that's where he should end up going if he wants to win a championship. All right, what's Corrupt's real name? Do you have it?
Oh, I know Ernie 2 asked that one, or which Ernie asked that one?
I don't remember. They've been commenting throughout. I'm not going to look back at it.
I can't tell you corrupt. Sorry.
Ricardo Brown. You know, Derek, you've been so eloquent and just so logical with this Hopkins thing, but you really disappointed from the beginning of the show when you said I'm really good at listing rappers' names, and you haven't gotten a single one right.
Oh no, hold on. I believe me, I knew Method Man's, and I was close with LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes.
You were close, but that does not mean you actually guessed it right.
Okay, well, to be completely honest, I wasn't really a corrupt fan, so I didn't know the man's surname. Well, throw another one at me. Like,
let me think. Ice-T.
Ooh, yeah, nah, don't know that one either.
Tracy Marrow.
I could see why he went by Ice-T.
It'd also be really cool though if he was called T-Bone, because then he'd be T-Bone Marrow.
Okay, on the chat here, Ernie 2 goes Redman, Reggie Noble. I know that one.
Okay, well, everyone knows his first name is Reggie if you've listened to Without a what's the song by Eminem?
Without
Good
Me?
Lord. No, not Without Me.
Till the
Sing
roof
for
collapse, to the doo-ba-doo.
Yes. It goes Reggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, and Biggie.
Well, that's weird that he calls him Reggie.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Ooh. Nelly. Do you know Nelly?
Yes. Oh god damn it. Hold on. Curtis?
Nah.
Wait,
it's Nelly. Think Nelly.
It starts with a C. It starts with a C though.
Yeah.
I think Nelly. I don't think Nelly's in his name.
Think Nell.
Yeah.
Think Ivy League.
Oh, Cornelius?
School. No, Cornell.
Oh, Cornell Jackson?
Cornell Haynes Jr.
Well, I remember he did have a meal at McDonald's or something.
Oh my god! All right, that's
and then Ernie goes Tupac. Can you give me Tupac's name? Tupac Shakur.
I was trying to look for others, but some of them are too obvious. Yeah, Tupac's was too easy.
Yeah. Let's just end that one because it's obvious I'm not as good as I think I was.
Oh, hang on. Breaking news a little bit out of the NBA. The Nick Nurse has been hired to the 76ers. So there you go.
Wow. Huh. Interesting that he wanted that job over the Phoenix Suns.
I would.
Why is that?
Because I think it's easy to get rid of Harden. I think that if you can work with Maxey and Embiid and go from there, I'd rather do that. It's tough. But I'd rather do that than go with the Suns because, like, I don't know, man. It's pretty clear with Kevin Durant, you need, like, quite a bit of talent in order to win. I don't know, at this stage.
But I still think they do. And I don't know if they're going to keep DeAndre Ayton, but I think him and DeAndre Booker could be something.
Yeah, but like
at times it was shown in the playoffs.
At times, but it's just that they both had to score like 35 in order for them to win. I don't know. That's an interesting one though. That could be up for debate, like between the 76ers and the Suns. I don't think it's there's no right or wrong answer, I guess.
Well, when I saw that, who's the new head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks? Griffin. What's his first name? Adrian?
I don't know his first name.
Hold on, I'll get it real quick. And I saw that their first initial choice was Nick Nurse, and he turned that down. Yeah, Adrian Griffin. I assumed that he was going to go to the Phoenix Suns because I just thought that Nick Nurse wanted. I mean, Kevin Durant has openly talked about how good of a coach Nick Nurse is, so I just thought that was going to be the case. Yeah, Philadelphia is an interesting move or interesting choice by Nick Nurse. Not a bad team by any means. I just don't know what they're going to do with James Harden. Probably not coming back. But then again, I guess he campaigned for Doc Rivers to get fired.
Mhm.
Well, that'd be interesting. I mean, interesting to see who gets the job at Phoenix now, because I don't think Doc Rivers is going to make them a better team.
Right.
I
Yeah.
I think Doc Rivers' days are over as a head coach. I think that he should be an analyst.
Maybe go back to it. Maybe. I now that you've brought up Adrian Griffin, can't help but think like it sounds like a Family Guy character where Peter, you know,
His
oh yeah,
brother.
like my long lost second cousin who's an NBA head coach, Adrian Griffin, and then it has like the same exact voice. Yeah, come on, move the ball, move the ball, move the ball, shot. Oh, something like that. Those cutaway things. Uh,
That was a stretch, just because the man's last name is Griffin.
well, I'm really tired, and it sounded funny in my head.
You actually had to work today, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Lots to report on, Derek. Lots of
I
stuff
I I
going on.
I bet there's a huge game tonight.
Huge game. A lot of stuff going on with the A's. Them kind of looking like they're gonna move, even though I really won't buy that they're gonna move until the
What's
you know
what's
the
what's the latest with the A's?
well today they have that hearing with the Nevada legislature to vote on the proposal for the public financing bill. They're requesting 380 million in public financing, significantly lower than the 500 million, Derek.
It was sad last night. I was coming home from L.A., flew from Burbank to Oakland Airport, and there's a big thing in one of the terminals in the
Yeah.
Oakland Airport for
Yeah.
the Oakland A's clubhouse thing, which
Oh
is
yeah.
under construction.
Yeah, the Oakland A's bar or whatever.
Yeah,
Ooh, tough.
tough timing on that one. Tough timing on that one. Um, yeah, and the A's have lost. God, what are they? 10-44 right now, or 45?
Yeah, 10-45, off to the worst 45 game start in
Or
the se-
55 start.
in what is it? 123 years, so over a century, maybe 126.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all pretty bad for the A's right now. And like I said, I will be staying away until we get some concrete news that they're going to leave. And if they are going to leave, I will go back for one last series, but that's about it.
Yeah, there's nothing set in concrete. You got to wait for that. You got to wait for the whole approval from the legislature thing, and then you got major league owners, and they got to put it to a vote too. That's happening in the middle of the month. There's plenty more hurdles that you have to get through, and then I think the final one, like I think during the election, I believe when you can actually vote on this sort of stuff, they could vote to possibly repeal it back in or over in 2024. So there's still quite a bit to go.
Yeah, we're a ways away from the A's officially leaving, but they made their intentions known.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as tonight, there is a huge, stinky, big old Game 7 tonight, and Saturday was jam packed. I went to the Burbank Theater in old Burbank to watch Fast X, and then as soon as we got out of the theater, we went across the street to Yard House, good old bar, and watched the end of the Celtics and Heat, also the Stars and Knights. If you had to say it right now, well, the odds of the Celtics are better than the Stars, because there's one game that's closer to a Game 7, or there is a Game 7 actually.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they're coming back in that series too, the Stars. Did you
Yeah.
watch that game at all a little bit?
No, I didn't watch any of that. I only caught Heat and Celtics. I was also playing a little Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. I try to catch up on my video games on the weekends.
Look at you.
It's a sick game. But I had the dual screens going, and by the time it got to the fourth quarter with the Heat and Celtics, was just locked in there. Dude, but to answer your question, like, do I think that yes, I think the Celtics have a much better chance of coming back in this series.
Yeah, that's a stupid question.
Than the Knights.
Yeah, that's a stupid question, because that series is actually going to Game 7. But it's interesting that both the Stars and the Celtics were down 0-3, and now they're coming back. So we'll see if the Stars get into a Game 7. But just as far as the Game 6 that happened on Saturday night, so I was there with 3 of my friends, and one of which is a big sports fan. The other 2 are not. We told them the situation, and they were glued to the TV because it's captivating whether you're into sports or not, just the circumstances. To be down 0-3 and then to potentially tie the series up 3-3. So the Celtics were leading that game for most of the night. We sat down right when the fourth quarter happened. Jimmy Butler was having a rough game, and then the game just flipped a little bit where the Heat were back in the game and actually took the lead with seconds left. Al Horford fouls Jimmy Butler on looked like a 2-point shot, but they reviewed it and it became a three. So he gets three free throws. And then it goes to Jimmy Butler having a great game. They need one more stop. And it makes Duncan Robinson look not like a GOAT, like the original meaning of GOAT. Like he had terrible shot selection in those threes. But also, you got to make those too. If Tyler Hero's on the court, he's probably making those.
Well, that speaks to the rhythm, though. The rhythm that Steph and Clay use when they're shooting their threes. It's all like for them, it's just all muscle memory. It's all timing and Duncan on 1-3 specifically with Gabe Vincent going to the corner. It's like he had that little bit of hesitation where he's like, maybe I should pass this off, but no, he ends up taking the three and just bricking it instead.
Yeah. So it looked like the Celtics blew the game, and then what was it? 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
They're up 103-102, and Marcus Smart, of all people, is getting the game-winning shot. But with that little time left, you don't really have much of choices. He misses it, and this is where boxing out. You hear it like when I was a kid in basketball. It's you think like not too much of it, but it's extremely important. And Derek White becomes the hero. Underneath the rim, he gets the rebound and goes up with like 0.2 seconds left, right before the light comes on, and they win the game. And it was the most ridiculous ending to a basketball game I've ever seen, where you thought one team was going to advance and one team was going to get eliminated, and then it just flipped, just like that. It was insane. Everybody in the bar went crazy. We were in LA, so everybody was rooting for the Celtics to lose, and everybody was shocked. Like when I saw it, I was like, he didn't get that off. It's too bad, so sad, too late for the Celtics. Holy shit, he got that off. They're going to a game 7. That is an extremely epic and just improbable win for the Celtics, and just a gut-wrenching, demoralizing loss for the Heat.
My favorite part was so also during the weekend I was touring wedding venues, right? Yeah. And one of my favorite things to come from this game, someone posted it on Instagram the next morning. There was a wedding clearly in Miami, or at least full of Miami Heat fans, and they showed them watching the game on their phone.
Yeah.
And they had it propped up. And then as soon as the shot missed from Marcus Smart, phone dropped. They didn't see the ending. And they're going nuts. They got flags everywhere. They're strolling around. They're strutting around the wedding. Like, I just can't imagine what the vibe of the wedding was after they just realized they lost. And whoo, boy. Hopefully they, whoever had that wedding, hopefully they paid for an open bar, because people were going to need their drinks after that one at that wedding. But
hold on. What sucks about that video is we want to see the realization that they lost.
Right. That is the only problem. You don't see that. But no, man, I can't only help but echo what you just said. I was, Jesse was napping at the time. Yeah. So I had one of those moments where I like got up, I was like, what? you know what I mean? Like you got to give like a loud breath. You don't want to wake anybody up. But it just goes to show you how these little things that matter when it comes down to, though, in these types of games late, a lot of it does come down to effort. The Heat, that's what's crazy about that game, is it felt like the Heat gave the better effort than the Celtics did. They
Towards
were just,
the end, yeah.
To me, it's just, it felt like they had a really poor shooting night. Like if like even Jimmy Butler, you mentioned he had a good game. He still had 24 points on 21 shots. That's not as efficient as he's been through this postseason. So, like, to me, the Heat were the better team overall. Right. They just missed a couple of more shots here and there, especially their mid-range jumpers, and that's which they can kill you with. And then it just ends with Derek White out of nowhere, especially Derek White. You know what I mean? Yeah. You think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Shout out to, you mentioned Al Horford on the foul. Shout out to Al Horford for even still going. We don't give him enough credit for doing this at his age and like his late 30s. I remember he was starting out with Josh Smith and Jeff Teague on the Atlanta
Yeah.
Hawks. But
But
yeah,
you
man.
don't. But you don't think Derek White's going to be in that situation? You think it's Al Horford? You think it's going
Mhm.
to be Robert Williams, or who's the other Williams that talk shit with Jimmy Butler?
Grant.
Grant Williams. Um, Derek White. It's such a Boston thing of just like the guy that people forget about to be the hero.
Yeah.
Um, it honestly was the craziest ending to a basketball game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm not one for hyperbole, and to have, be a prisoner of the moment and all that shit. But I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, where it was one team was going to go on and one team was going to be eliminated, and within a split second, it all changed. It's like that. That's what's so crazy. Like Ernie in the comment here is saying like I thought they lost. Like as soon as the shot didn't make it from Marcus Smart, I turned the game off.
Yeah.
I'm sure millions of people had that reaction of, oh, they lost, and then like slowly realizing like, wait, what, did they won? Like, so improbable. And yeah, you see all the post game stuff, and they asked like Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, like, do you believe you're here right now? They're like, no, I don't know how we won that game, but we're going back to Boston. And Jimmy Butler can smile all he wants the post game, Eric Spoelstra and all them, but like they got to be just dead inside that they have to go back to Boston, and they'll put up a fight tonight. I don't think it's just that simple as, oh well, Boston's going back home, they're going to win this thing. No, it's going to be a dogfight. But just the fact that it got back to this moment is crazy to me, and
Yeah.
I was not aware. So going into the game on Game 6, I guess I got my research wrong. I thought that no team in basketball history ever was down 0-3 and then got it to a Game 7.
Oh, okay.
But it's happened 3 times. So I guess the 19. I have the list here. Hold on.
I thought it was 4.
Well, it is 4 now with
Oh,
the
yeah.
Celtics winning. So it was. I thought I had this. I thought I wrote these down.
Well, I can tell you 2003.
Yeah,
I
so
know that was the last one.
The 1951 Knicks, the 94 Nuggets, and the 03 Trailblazers. They all were down 0-3 and were able to tie it up 3-3. But all three of those teams lost Game 7, and none of them had home court. That's the difference. See, like back then, it was 2-3-2, so it was easy for teams to come back in a series because you had 3 straight road games if you were the team that didn't have home court. Now it's different, and this is extremely. It just adds more to the spectacle of this whole thing of the Celtics coming back. So if they pull this off, it's right up there with the 04 Red Sox. It's incredible. Then it just adds to, like, every year when a team is down 0-3, every fan base is like, well, shit, it's over. This would add to that of just being like, there's hope. Like Sharks fans know about this the other way. It's terrible. They were up 3-0 on the LA Knights and then lost 4 in a row. It happened in hockey 4 times, and it could happen 5 times if the Stars pull their comeback off. But we haven't been to that yet. We'll see if they win Game 6. As far as this tonight, history is on the line. This could be epic, and I'm sure the NBA is rooting hardcore for a Celtics Nuggets series because it's not as sexy as a Nuggets Heat series.
I'm trying to figure out a way to frame this question, but I don't know. I saw it on First Take this afternoon or this morning, so I'm not going to try and get into a debate with you. And they brought on Rob Ninkovich and Jeff Passan to get on the Boston Red Sox side, and then Kendrick Perkins to get on the Celtics side. But they had the question of, like, is this comeback potentially more impactful than the one that the Red Sox had over the Yankees? And it's like, where they come back from 3-0 that one series. And it's like, no, because the Red Sox were in a total drought. History may be on the line, on the line here, but that one was just like that meant a lot more back in 2004.
Yeah, because the Red Sox were the wild card team, and it was up against the Evil Empire. And that offseason, the Yankees acquired Alex Rodriguez, and they stole him from the Red Sox. And the Yankees always beat up on the Red Sox, so that will always be more significant. And plus, whether it was manufactured or not, Kurt Schilling's bloody sock game, like the whole thing is epic. and they went on to win the World Series. Now let's see if the Celtics. Let's see if this whole thing benefits the Celtics and hurts the Nuggets with how much more of a layoff they have, where they could be more, you know, are they well rested or are they rusty?
I'm kind of glad you brought that up because that thing surfaced earlier.
Yeah.
Where the what is he? He's a radio host, I think, in Miami. But he says per FAA records.
Hold on, are we talking about David Amendolara?
No.
Oh, I'm trying to think of a Miami radio host.
I forgot the guy's name.
Okay.
I got to look it up because I quote tweeted it. Be fun. Andy Slater.
Oh, yes.
The Heat have a flight scheduled to Denver, not Miami, after the game tonight, per FAA records. And everyone comes pouncing in with, they're manifesting the win. Oh, this is badass. They know they're going to win. As opposed to, Denver's quite a ways away. They want to make sure they get their flights on time. If they do win, then they can get to Denver as soon as possible, and they could get acclimated to that altitude. Going to be pretty tough. They got to get every piece of, they got to get any edge that they could get. So might as well travel as soon as they can. But nope, this is the Heat doing it because they're manifesting a win, and they are securing their place in the East as the representatives in the final. Give me a break.
Yeah, this is total just trying to find inspiration in something that's not there. Yes, because exactly right, Stephen. The Miami Heat want to get acclimated to Denver. If whoever wins this game, they got to play on Thursday. So I'm sure the Boston Celtics better move. Well, actually, the Celtics would have home court, right? Because they had a better record than the Nuggets this year. I can find that out right now, actually.
Correct. Yeah,
that is correct?
You're right. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter for them. Yeah, it sure as shit matters for the Miami Heat. Do you know how hard it is to play in Denver? This is like this is one of my favorite stories. I want to say this is from Chris Long's podcast. I could be wrong, but every year the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, Bill Belichick, as a source of inspiration, puts up on a projector. By the way, guys, I don't know if you know this, but the Atlanta Falcons are preparing to have their parade on Tuesday. Tickets are going for this much. Yeah, you gotta fight the traffic. He does the whole thing. He milks it for the crowd, and that's supposed to piss off all the players, and it has for the most part. Like teams get fired up for that stuff. Chris Long apparently in his mind was like, well, yeah, they got a plan for that shit, and also like when's our parade schedule?
That's the thing. It's just all we just try to glob on to anything that we possibly can to make this even more special than it already is. But I don't know. To me, that shot, as hyped up as the Celtics can be, our guy Nick Friedel had the report on ESPN, but he was in the locker room and he said normally Jimmy Butler is pumping music, whatever it may be. I don't know if it's Taylor Swift. I don't know if it's Hootie and the Blowfish. I don't know if it's
forgot about the commercial.
I don't know if it's Bare Naked Ladies, whatever one of those 90s bands.
No, can you name every member of Bare Naked Ladies?
No.
Okay. Well, neither could I.
I have as much chance of naming every member of Bare Naked Ladies as you do naming rappers' first names.
Believe me, the percentages were in my favor on that.
I'd like to think that the Bare Naked Ladies names, though, they all have that pronunciation. Robert.
God, you are very tired today. Your jokes are terrible.
I mean, I'm exhausted. I mean, it's reaching a 12-hour mark here. I'm being.
I'm sorry. We'll wrap this up so you can take a little nap before the game.
Here an inspiration. All
right. Oh. If anyone's going to do the Creed voice on this podcast, you know it's going to be me.
I had another segment in mind if you wanted to, like a little bit that we could do in mind, or at least a little question.
Well, hang on. Just to finish. Well, is it related to the Celtics and Heat?
No.
Okay. Just to end on this, do you think the Celtics are making history today?
I do. I think momentum's totally on their side. I think the Heat are just I think they're just physically exhausted and mentally exhausted. I don't think there's a chance.
Now, we all said going into the conference finals, I believe, when all those coaches were getting fired, the most stable coaches or the most safe coaches are Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, and Eric Spoelstra. I'm not suggesting he's going to lose this job if they lose this game, but it does look bad. It does look bad for the Heat. It does look bad for Jimmy Butler. It looks bad for everybody involved that they would have this epic collapse like this. Not saying Eric Spoelstra is going to get fired, but it does look bad.
It does, sure, but I mean, they're not going to. Well, so what? They're not. Of course, it's going to look bad, but it all depends what happens next year, not this year. They're not going to fire him after this year.
Well, it looks more bad, or worse, I should say, if I'm going to be
more bad.
Correct. Yeah, more bad. Who's bad? More bad. The fact that was it Game 3 or Game 4? A-Rod and Derek Jeter were there.
Yeah.
Oof. That's just going to add to the 30 for 30.
Hey.
Now, does this now? If they don't do this tonight, does it take away from Derek White's moment?
No, of course not.
I still think it's like it's still one of the most incredible things because what was on the line? If they didn't get that shot, they were going to be eliminated. It's way better than Kawhi's bouncing shot to eliminate the 76ers. Because if that doesn't go in, okay, we go to overtime. It was a tie game. This was either win or lose right here, right now.
Well, I think more than just if the Heat win, then that takes away from Derek White. No, I don't think so. I think if anything, I think that kind of enhances what the Heat are doing. Like, they've already gone on this improbable run, almost knocked out of the play-in, got through the Bucks in 5 games, got through the Knicks in 5 games, and even though they were up 3-0 and on the verge of being on the wrong side of history, even after something like that happened in Game 6, to have the mental fortitude to even come back in Game 7 and to do it on the road. So I think I don't think it takes away or adds anything to Boston. I think the moment can stand alone by itself. But if anything, the kind of subsequent impact, I guess you could say, that it has on and everything else after that, I think it's more just the fact that the Heat could come back from that.
Yeah. No, it would be incredible if the Heat were able to come back from that, and also it would be total revenge, because the Celtics, I think, beat the Heat in Miami in Game 7 last year. But I do remember when. Do you remember when the Heat were playing with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and they were down 3-2 to the Spurs, and they had that crazy game where Ray Allen had the 3 to take it to overtime? There's always the talk of the Spurs rolling out the trophy on the floor, and that was going to be it. They were prepared for the Spurs to get the Larry O'Brien trophy that night, and the fact that they did not take advantage of that moment just demoralized them going into Game 7. Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich all said we had no chance in Game 7. I'm not saying that's the case tonight, but just the fact that you were so close, and then you're like, God, we have to go back on this plane. We have to do this all over again. I think the Heat are tough enough to do it, but I also want to be surprised if they're just mentally just shot right now.
That's it, man. Exactly. Like, they can't. There's at some point you just got to be thinking, I mean, what else can we do?
Yeah.
What else can we do? And so it's up to the Celtics, though, to kind of come out early, and not put a dagger in this thing, because you can't put a dagger in a game in the first quarter, but open up the first quarter, man, like you did in that Game 5 and in Games 4 and 5. Open up the scoring like that, and that's how you just take their will. Just take anything that they had left.
I hope Boston is greasing the poles tonight, because it's going to be intense. That's all Steven's got to say about that. No, I'm with you. I do think they pull it off tonight.
Greasing poles, unbelievable.
You had a little something you want to say for the lay it on me.
Yeah, I was just thinking this the other day when I was browsing through Netflix, kind of watching something to close out the night, but it's kind of, it might be objective. When you're pronouncing the names of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies in his voice, the number one movie that you like to say in his voice is The Terminator.
Yes.
That's everyone's favorite.
Right.
But my new favorite might be this TV show that he's got on
Fuba.
Netflix. Fuba. Every time I see it, I can't help but pronounce it with his accent. It was like, oh, I watch Fuba on Netflix. Fuba.
So what have you watched this show?
No,
Okay.
I don't plan on watching it either.
Yeah,
But
I don't either. I've seen a lot of advertisement for it, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of just like Stallone in that show I've been watching, Tulsa King, where it's just like, what are you doing, Arnold? Like, so I think Arnold's like in a shit ton of Netflix stuff right now. Like, he's got that new show. He's got a documentary coming out about Arnold, which I do want to watch that. Actually, I'm interested in that. But as far as the Foo Bar show, I could care less.
I just love how I love what. So wait, whoa! Is this another sequel to Pumping Iron? What is this? This documentary?
No, I think it's just I think it's just the thing about his life and everything.
Oh, all right. I love following him on Twitter because like he'll just it's just the things that he drops. Like I like how people think it's really him tweeting and he's got like enough time just to say thank you to anyone who's commenting on Fuba. But I like how it's like I like how he says, haha, thank you. Thanks for watching. I like that criticism. Thanks for watching. I've been blown away by the passion in Argentina. Thanks for binging. Thank you so much for binging Fuba. Have a fantastic day. That might have to be a segment, man. We just go down and read what Arnold's been tweeting. I'm impressed by your commitment.
I have been noticing that he's been tweeting a lot because for whatever reason I do follow him. But
there we go. Thanks, Hong Kong.
Yeah, just reacting to every little goddamn tweet.
ASMR with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Monica Barbaro. That's me doing ASMR, Arnold.
Yeah, but he just retweeted that. He actually didn't tweet that out.
No, he didn't. Thanks for making it number one. Oh, we might have struck gold. Oh,
don't pat yourself too hard on the back for that one.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, good. Go Chargers, go! And of course, do you remember this one too? Like everyone brings up the Go Chargers, go! And when he was in the Monday Night booth for when the Jets came back for that epic comeback against the Dolphins, do you remember when he was in the booth? Tom Tolbert actually reminded me of this, and I totally forgot about it. Do you remember that first game with Art Shell that was terrible, where Sean Merriman and the Chargers sacked Aaron Brooks like 15 times?
Oh no, I don't.
I wish I could
tell you it. I wish I could tell you I did, but I don't.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the booth that night. And he's like, I think Art Shell and the Raiders are going to come back. It's like, no, they were terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
Yeah, but he's just doing press. He didn't know what to think.
Of course. He's just, going with the home team. Have you been on Netflix in the last couple of days?
Yeah, I've just been like kind of browsing. Haven't really like tried watching anything.
Do you use your own account or do you use your mom's or one of your brothers or
my brother?
Your only brother.
My only brother.
So let me know if you have any trouble logging in because they're cracking down on this thing now with the shared passwords now, where it's got to be one per household or in your same household or whatever it is.
Right.
And if I'm locked out and I can't watch, I think you should leave. Coming back tomorrow, I'm gonna be pissed.
I think you should get ready to be pissed because that did happen.
Damn it! That means I gotta buy my own Netflix account, and I'm not even that big. I'm like, I guess I'm finishing up Narcos and Peaky Blinders, and I do want to watch. I think you should leave, which is coming back tomorrow. Hilarious show. Everybody should watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna be pissed if I have to, because God, as we say with Mafia, Steven, Mafia movies, Steven, these streaming apps, you're doing too fucking much. You're
doing too much.
Yeah, HBO Max dropping the Max, and now it's got the weird thing. Like I don't like it.
Hey, HBO Max, you're wearing the fur coat. Why you gotta wear that fur coat? I told you not to wear that coat. You're doing too much.
Yeah,
you're doing too much.
Doing too much. So hopefully I have a couple more days of sharing my Netflix account with my mom.
Yeah, you know what though? I do like I Think You Should Leave, but that's not the type of show that's going to get me to pay $8 a month to watch it.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah, I don't know. I might. I mean, I think I'd be relatively content with nothing from Netflix anymore.
That may be the case, but then again, HBO Max had a good thing going, and then they screwed it up. By the way, speaking of HBO Max, you're not a Barry guy, huh? You didn't watch the rest of Barry, the show?
No.
Ended last night. I know a lot of people were more concerned with the ending of Secession. Eventually, I'll get on that show, but the ending of Barry, whew, fantastic.
I have a feeling you're not going to like Succession. And what's this I heard about Barry's final season being total crap?
Who's telling you that?
I just saw something like we just had the Succession finale and the Barry finale, and one was was the one's direction was totally off and the other was great. I don't know, something to that.
Here's the thing about Barry. You watched the first season, right?
Yeah.
And would you say the tone was more goofy or dramatic?
Goofy.
Okay. It's gone away from that. And I understand people being upset with that, but this show was never going to be like, like Analyze This or The Whole Nine Yards or any movie you can think of where the hitman is like the comic relief. They wanted to make a point with this. It's a whole really dissection of how we view anti-heroes in shows. So I understand people are like, it's not as goofy as it once was. There are moments where it's incredibly goofy, and I laugh my ass off. But it's very dramatic and it's very dark and it makes you think. There's a whole Hollywood element to it where I think it's definitely symbolism for people that are canceled and all that stuff. I do think that it's very it's more than what's on the spectrum. It makes you think about a lot more things than just a show about a hitman that wants to be an actor.
I don't know if I'm going to watch it anymore.
I cannot promote it enough. I think that it's amazing, and I know it's not for everybody, but I think it's very slept on. And I can understand why people were kind of disappointed with the ending, but I loved it.
All right, fair enough.
Before we end things today, real quick, Mark Stein came out with a report today about Bob Myers, and it seems from Mark Stein's reporting and investigative work that he's preparing for Bob Myers to announce that he is going to step away from the Warriors this week. Actually, I can get you the exact quote if you want me to, so I can redeem myself with reading. You know what? I lost it. All right, I won't do it. But basically, what I read from Mark Stein's article is that it has nothing to do with. C.J. Holmes reported that the Warriors were prepared to make Bob Myers the most paid GM in basketball, and it sounds like Bob is just not interested in just being a general manager right now. And there's conflicting reports. Greg seems to believe that there's going to be a press conference this week. It could happen tomorrow. We do not know, but the speculation is that Bob Myers will speak this week. And every general manager speaks when their team season ends. It's kind of an end of the year press conference. Bob is yet to do that. I'm sure he's prolonged it because he'll tell everybody what his intentions are. But yeah, it sounds like we should be prepared for Bob Myers to step away.
Yeah, the C.J. Holmes report. That's also something we kind of already knew, wasn't it? Like those were in the initial goodbye posts essentially to Bob Myers, where they said, look, they offered him much more than the executive should be paid, and he still is not taking it. Like we kind of knew that. I mean, I guess CJ's more making it like official, but it's
right.
That's not really a surprise. I haven't heard that actually until now, though. That's not really a surprise, I guess.
Yeah, the interesting thing is this week, Mark Spears was on with us, and when the Clippers general manager, I think his name is Michael Winger, he's leaving for the Wizards job. So that leaves a vacant spot for the Clippers. And Mark Spears in that moment goes, could Bob be interested in wanting to be the Clippers general manager to team up with Jerry West again? And initially you're like, that is interesting because I do know that Bob and Jerry were tight. But then you look at it and the Clippers, their president of basketball operations is Lawrence Frank, and Bob Myers is going to take a demotion to work under Lawrence Frank just to be reunited with Jerry West? I don't think so. So what Mark Stein says in his report is that he's just looking to walk away from basketball in general, which is what I believe. And going back to the Jerry West thing for a second, I do believe that Jerry West and Bob Myers were very tight, tight to the point where the job became less fun for Bob once Jerry left, because I believe that Jerry West was the buffer between Bob and Joe Lacob. And now that Jerry's gone, Bob deals directly with Joe, and now he's ready to leave.
I mean, yeah, but that's been a few years though. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
but
like it's not like he left immediately.
yeah, but now his contract's up, and now it's like I don't have to be here anymore.
Right. For sure, but still, it's been a few years.
I know, and that's the thing. I do think that Joe, he's a great owner. Believe me, I know that, but I'm sure he doesn't make the job easy for those guys.
Nah, I could see. Whatever I'm saying. I don't know. I'm exhausted, but yeah, I could see it. Totally.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up with that. Do you think Bob is going to announce that he's leaving this week?
Yeah, yeah, and he told. He,
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Who gives a shit?
No, he told Woj that he was going to probably do it at some point by now, so it makes sense that it would be done by this week.
Yeah, but you feel like he's going to leave?
I feel like he is. Yeah. It feels like his time is up. Like they're not going to leave this sort of thing till the last second. It's pretty much been up to Bob. The ball's been in his proverbial court, but I think it is done. Yeah. And we've both been saying it for pretty much since almost the beginning of the season.
Yeah. I do it would be ironic if tomorrow I Think You Should Leave comes out and Bob Myers leaves.
And then we all do because we can't get into the Netflix passwords.
Yeah, that sucks. Before we get out of here real quick, I caused a little stir on social media this past Friday.
Oh, did you?
Did you see what I tweeted out?
Well, you'd have to unmute you in order to see.
That's fair.
I'm just kidding.
Although I don't tweet enough to cause that, unless it's just you're tired of podcast promotion.
Whoa! Wait, is that?
Yeah.
Whoa!
So you didn't see this, huh?
I did not see this.
You want to share the screen?
Yeah. Oh wow, this is interesting.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, Greg likes to dress up for every segment he does, for the live stream with John Lund, and they were having a conversation about because the Bay Area Hall of Fame dinner just happened.
Yeah.
And I think they honored Buster Posey, Gary Payton, Patrick Willis, and the debate that my dad and John Lund were having is who's the best Bay Area athlete to not be a Hall of Famer. And their choices, I think, were the recently deceased Vida Blue, Tim Lincecum, I want to say Madison Bumgarner, and Jim Plunkett. And I think my dad's choice was Jim Plunkett. So Greg decided to take my Raider hat. I'm pretty sure that's my hat. And an Al shirt and put that on while they're having the conversation. And it's Greg's choice to do this. But I thought it was a good opportunity to fuck with everybody, be like, oh, look what's happening here. Let me just clear this up right now. Greg is very happy with the 49ers. He's happy to be the Niners broadcaster. This is no way of him saying I'm going back to the Raiders in any way, shape, or form. He is 100% happy to be doing play-by-play work for the 49ers. But once a Raider, always a Raider, and he has the stuff still in his apartment.
Yeah, well, that's just classic social media, though, isn't it? To take one thing where you literally comment "hell hath frozen over." Should be hath, by the way, but but
Thank you, Stephen, for always pointing out my grammatical incorrectness, even in that statement.
But it's if anyone's mad at that, that's way too overblown. Good Lord.
Yeah, no. I mean, come on. He puts on Warriors stuff. He's not the Warriors guy anymore. He puts on if he had A's stuff, I'm pretty sure he put A's on if they talked A's. Um, he has Giants stuff on when they talk Giants. So this was just a fun thing he did. So don't read too much into it, everybody.
All right, so he's going to be the Raiders play-by-play guy soon enough. All right, that's what I'll draw from it.
It'll be a Hanukkah miracle. Isn't that what the guy said? Who's the new play-by-play guy?
Oh, good. What did he call it?
When Chandler Jones scored the touchdown, it's on the first night of Hanukkah. It's a Hanukkah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right, Steven. Yeah, that too. Ernie, yeah, Greg likes to wear a robe sometimes too. So be happy he put on the Raider stuff.
Where's a robe?
Yeah, that was way too much.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Gee, Reg.
Drop my drawers. Okay. Anyway, on that note, we'll see if the Heat make history tonight, or sorry, the Celtics make history tonight. And yeah, we'll be back later in the week to preview the finals. Until then, Steven, say what you always say.
It's just a football, man. That was good.